still be attending to the same population. You understand? So they should just stop chasing monkeys and focus on doing their job.
All right, Mr. Bola, what's your reaction to that when you heard that? Do you think that will go a long way in securing data of social media or bloggers?
Yes, I think that social media people should be traceable. Let me just use the word. You should be traceable. You are not a ghost. Yes. You are not a spirit. We should be able to trace you. And it's not only social media. See the Ponzi schemes where we have all these people. Where can you trace them? See many of the digital payment sites.
That boils down to data overhaul. I mean, Nigeria. That boils down to the fact that Nigerians lack data.
Yes. Focus on data instead of focusing on social media.
Yeah, no, social media should be part of those
it is already part of
but it should not be the only one. We should not just zero in on social media alone and leave all the others. Everybody should be. We should have data. Data like my colleague there said, data of people taking WAEC, data of the jobless, data of adults, data of children, data of this. We should have data. Fortunately, we are going to have another census now. Let us hope that will be built into it, that there will be data. Everybody should be traceable. You cannot just wake up one day and begin to do your own things the way you like without anybody being able to trace you, without anybody being able to know
sorry to cut you. Sorry to cut you. When they start the census now, these same people shouting that they should regulate social media. We make sure that the census does not go well. Because once every Nigerian is traceable, that 20 million votes that they count from North, they don't fit count them again. They know. And so they want to let those atrocities continue while they stop social media. Because that's why it's for them.
No, they can't stop social media. Like you have said, nobody can stop social media. It's technology that is worldwide. It is global. And like you said, if they make any law in Nigeria that hamstring social media, you can move to Benin Republic there. You can move anywhere. You can broadcast from anywhere once you have the equipment and you are operating on the airwaves and you can go anywhere. So it is not very easy these days. Unlike before, when I was editor of the Punch and you could just send the military men, they could just come and lock down the place. You can't lock down social media like you lock down newspaper houses in those days. Yeah. It's not possible. We have passed that age. Thank God for social media. But there is a need for us to have data. Because we don't have very adequate data, we can't plan. Without planning, there is no how you can achieve anything. So even the population of Nigeria, we don't know how many Nigerians we have. We don't know the age bracket and things like that. So we have a situation where we say we are about 200 million. Are we actually about 200 million? We have a situation where we say that the desert areas are more populated than the forest areas. Can that be so? So there is a lot of things that we need to straighten in this country. One of it is that we should have proper data. We should have proper data. And then when we still talk about terrorism or whatever, I am bothered because that is one reason why insurgency is not going away. One reason why insurgency is not going away is the statement made by the Sultan. That statement tells you that there are some people who are deliberately supporting, financing, sponsoring the terrorists. There are people who share the same ideological bent with the terrorists. And there are people who are sympathetic to their cause and who are giving them all the backing. There are people who are holding back the government from doing the right thing. There are people who will tell you that any attack, at least a former president of this country, before he was president, told us that any attack on Boko Haram was an attack on the north, and we saw how that played out. And we are now seeing people who are telling us that the terrorists that we are seeing that they are the same as social media social media people. So you see that these are the reasons why this insecurity is not going away, and these are some of the reasons why it is spreading all over the country. These are some of the reasons why we are spending large sums of money that ought to have gone into development purposes. Insecurity that keeps ballooning and that is not reducing. And we must take note of that. It's very, very important. It's not just that somebody said that social media is terrorism. It is the fact that he equates social media with terrorism. We support the fact that he is not against terrorism in the real sense of the word.
Okay.
So if we want to look at how we can curb terrorism, we must begin to address those powerful Nigerians who seemingly support the terrorism of destruction of lives and properties and the terrorism that is wasting the lives of citizens, wasting the lives of our soldiers, wasting our resources, and holding this country back. It is very important that we must interrogate that. Very, very important.
Thank you very much. Okay, Prince Will, 1 minute before we go, please.
Mr. Bola. Okay.
1 minute before.
Shevin that Mr. Bola is being careful. He doesn't want to call him because he's not working with social media. He's working with proper. If he's working with social media, now we will call him. So you see the advantage of social media.
All right. Thank you very much for your time on the show. Adjirio there, Prince Will, the comedian.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, Mr. Bola. It's a privilege.
Content creator, producer, and award-winning. Okay, Mr. Bola Wole, chairman of editorial board and deputy editor-in-chief of Punch newspaper. Thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Yes.
Okay, all right. This is we have to go on a short break. When we return, definitely we'll head to Abuja and we'll talk about this matter where the presidency has budgeted 10 billion naira for solar power in the villa. We'll be right back.
We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. Switch to the good side of life here on 92.7 Super FM.
Ladies and gentlemen,
a new day is dawning. New ideas, new rules.
To infinity
and beyond.
Well, this just got a little weird.
Who is this?
We are Super FM.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. 92.7 Super FM.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Spotlight on Super 92.7 FM. This is where we dissect top trending stories relating from politics, governance, health, education, business, and many more well-informed analysis right here. Today, earlier we looked at social media regulation in Nigeria. Right about now, let's head to Abuja, where presidency budgeted a sum of 10 billion naira for solar power. Yes, the State House has allocated a sum of 10 billion naira in 2025 approved budget for the installation of a solar mini grid at the presidential villa. This follows an increase in the overall budgetary allocations to the State House headquarters, which rose from 47.11 billion naira in the initially proposed 2025 budget to now 57.11 billion naira in the approved version. Well, solar projects expected to, like I said, to reduce dependence on the national grid and then to limit the impact of tariff hikes on government finances. And now joining us live from Abuja to look at this issue is a forensic audit expert, a fraud examiner and an arbitrator, Lawman Nzewa. Mr. Lawman, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Michael.
How are you doing?
Good morning, our listeners, and good morning to Nigerians.
How are you doing this morning?
I am doing great.
Well, if you're in Lagos, all I've said is I'm doing fine. If you're in Lagos, all I've said is a cold day in Lagos. But you're not in Lagos. Unfortunately, you're in Abuja. I don't know how the weather is there, but it's a cold day right here.
The weather here is just normal because the morning is just coming. It's not cold. It's not hot for now.
All right.
But nobody knows what the weather will turn to.
All right. Thank you very, very much for that. Now, the sum of 10 billion naira has been budgeted for solar mini grid at the presidential villa. When you heard this, what came to your mind? You are a fraud examiner. You are an audit expert. Now hearing some of 10 billion naira for solar in presidential villa, what struck your mind?
Well, a lot of things came to my mind. The first, at least as an auditor, was the money, 10 billion. And then another was the purpose. What do we want to achieve? And then the next could have been the impact. What will it yield to us? Then we also look at the externalities, the unintended aspects of this budget or this money we are talking about. So the money is not actually a big deal when you look at the value of money, 10 billion. If 10 billion naira will be spent within the villa to give them alternative source of energy, I think if you have been to the villa, you will know it's a complete villa. It's a big villa with all the equipment and all the gadgets. If 10 billion naira would actually be spent to give them alternative source of energy, that would be very fine.
This is to say you're in support. This is to say you're in support of the fact that 10 billion naira is not too much.
The purpose. No, if the purpose would be achieved.
Let's not even.
If the purpose
you're talking about the purpose. We are even looking at that amount to the project.
Well,
are you not looking at that too?
I have to speak. I am looking at the size of the amount, but I don't have alternative figure to challenge that. I don't know how to arrive at that figure. No investigation has been made. We have National Assembly. Unfortunately, the National Assembly we have is in life support. So we couldn't have depended on them, but there's nothing we could do. They are operating, they have the statutory powers to investigate before they approve. The presidency, what the presidency gives to National Assembly is estimate, budget, what they want to do. It's the job of the National Assembly to confirm whether with the size, the purpose, the impact will be met, and then to approve it or not to approve it. So unfortunately, we have a National Assembly that cannot even have someone the courage to say, how did you arrive at this figure? So we can do it here. We don't have the data. I had and overheard the last speakers there. They are talking about data. If you don't have data, you might not be able to even challenge what you think is obvious. You should do that with the user.
But right now,
I don't have the data. I don't have alternative figure.
But right now, is this the priority? And what impact will this be on the economy? Is this the priority that Nigeria needs right now? Let me remind you, some time ago, the president, before coming into government, had said that, it will make sure that electricity is down to the barest minimum. In fact, Nigerians won't even pay for electricity. Okay, let's even listen. Let's listen to the president on that, and then we'll come back and we'll reflect on all of this. Because it's not like, well, when you say when I heard this, I tried to reach out to some of the experts and said, okay, when you say 10 billion in powering the villa, no matter how big it is, what is that? Reno Omokri has also made some comments in regards to this, but let's listen to the president and then we'll come back and make reactions.
You must have electricity. And you will not pay for estimated bill anymore. A promise made will be a promise kept. If I can't keep the promise and I come back for second term, don't vote for me. That's the truth. Unless I give you adequate reasons why I couldn't deliver.
Mr. Lawman, that's the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You heard that statement there. It says that give you adequate electricity. And right now, we know what electricity is talking about, right? The cost of electricity right now is skyrocketed, And then, now we're hearing 10 billion naira to the villa empowering. Let me, are you there? Can you listen? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Now, let me highlight the words of Reno Omokri. He says, solar panels in Aso Rock should be commended, not condemned. It is a small picture thinking to believe that installing solar panels in Aso Rock is tantamount to the president's lack of faith in government plan to improve electricity generation and transmission in Nigeria. Now, what is it? Random Mockery compared it to that of the United States. Say the United States government has been using solar panels since 1979 under President Jimmy Carter. Now, the panels were replaced and improved under President Ronald Reagan and also under Barack Obama, under George Bush. He also said that the solar panels were scheduled for Buckingham Palace of King Charles III. So now he's relating it to other presidential palaces and all. What is your reaction to this? Hearing what the president has said and your reaction to this also. What do you have to say in all of this?
Yeah, I want to first and foremost put myself in the shoes of the president. And if I were to be the president of Nigeria, which of course nothing stops me from being the president of Nigeria, if not that I have not been voted for it. So I can put myself in the shoes of the president and ask myself, if I were to be the president, would deflect or deplete my faith? We spoke about diversification, and we said insist that diversification will always reduce risk. The fact that you have a car and then you decided to have a motorbike around your house does not mean that you have concluded that that car will not serve you. If the president, in case of any emergency, you say, okay, let me switch over to the solar panel. Definitely that is not bad. And remember that it's not as if your solar panel is a hardware, is equipment, is a complete equipment that you put. And the lifespan of such solar panel could not be less than 10 years, if you think so. So if you are now trying to install it with 10 billion naira and then you depreciate it on a straight line, that is on equal year basis, you will see that we are talking about 1 billion per annum before you could be talking about a replacement. My challenge in Nigeria is, will they achieve this? We have had a lot of things in that villa that have been budgeted, and not only in the villa, in elsewhere. You will never see them. You only see them when they are coming out like this. We argue about them, 10 billion. By December next year, you will see another 10 billion coming, and nobody will ask, why is the 10 billion we gave you last year? That's the problem. Accountability, transparency is a challenge in Nigeria.
Accountability, that's what we're talking about here. Okay, let's go to the phone lines and say, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, my brother.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Ben from Iba.
All right, Ben from Iba. Please make your comment as brief as possible.
This I guess now, thank God. If we contest for president, you will not win. Reno Mockery is his name. His name is affecting him. So parents should take care of that. Parents should be careful. Don't give your child a mockery. Start mocking everything. Mr. President, if he's not a good leader identifies with people he's leading. He eats what people eat. He moves like the people. How can you be using solar and you are giving us national grid? How can he know national grid collapse? What prevents Mr. President from generating power through solar in the whole north? Sun is wasting. Look at the heavy sun in Medugri, in Kogi, everywhere, all over the north, all over Nigeria, the whole state. Mr. President can generate 3,600 megawatts from solar in this country. This 10 billion, if you give it to this one that used to come to your station, A3, he will generate it with 500 million. He will generate it. It is Wike's project. If we can do something of 500 million, he will escalate it to 25 billion. This is a scam. What do you mean by 10 billion? Which type of panel, which type of battery are you buying?
All right.
What are you doing with 10 billion?
Thank you very much.
That is total nonsense.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Yes, keep your call coming in 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Or 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Yes, let's talk. Okay, Olamilekon from Lagos says it is not glaring. Is it not glaring that this government is not prepared for governance but borrow to loot? And he says, well, okay, I can't get him. He said, eye services excuses propaganda. That is why we are in this nightmare. And they've turned the people to beggars in the and marginaries in the midst of plenty and secure. He said, it's a shame the worst of all is ruling the best of all. So truly, there was a country. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Toby calling from Bariga.
All right, Toby from Bariga. Please be as brief as possible, please.
Okay, what I want to talk about is the solar panel that the president wants to install. There's nothing wrong with them diversifying into, okay, let's see another source of power. But is that 10 billion solar panel going to, is it powering the whole of Abuja? Because how many square kilometer of land is the Aso Rock? How many gadgets are they using inside the Aso Rock that they want to use 10 billion? And funniest thing is that by next year, they will say they want to upgrade it to another 20 billion. So I think we have to be, the question has to be asked in that regard. There's nothing wrong with them doing something else, but that money is on the high, very, very high side.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, keep your call coming in 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Or the other lines 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, call us back 0705 690 927. 0705 690 927. 0802 502 7711. Mr. Lawman, are you there?
I'm here.
Now, is this not another means to siphon money? We know how this sometimes works in Nigeria, where they'll say, a project of maybe 5 billion naira, maybe 5 million naira or 500 million naira will be, boosted to 10 billion, 500 billion, and all. It's just another. And before you know it, when the next administration comes in, you hear that thing has not been done at all. You hear that maybe the contractor, the person that wants to do something, he wasn't given license or something happened. Is this same country we had that snake swallow money? Rats swallow. So all of these things happens.
Yes, I have made allusion to the issue of accountability, transparency, and if possible, you can now add efficiency to it. Now, you say it could be a way of siphoning money if they want to siphon. But remember that saying that they are siphoning money now is a criminal allegation. So whoever that wants to say is a way of siphoning money should be able to provide alternative. They've not given us, and we don't have the privy of knowing exactly what they want to do. It is the National Assembly, if they were alive to their responsibility, that will be able to question and say, what do you want to achieve with 10 billion? And then in terms of approval, they will not look at what you want to achieve. Also, we have the General of the Federation, who eventually should be able to be alive to responsibility and can make sure that the monies that are being spent from the office of the Accountant General and then being disbursed actually get to the purpose and not ending up into private persons. These systems are not working. They are all dead. That's the problem we have. We have dead system. Controls have failed from the judiciary to legislature to the executive to even external controls like the audit functions. They have all collapsed. That's why we're having problems. You see, I go back to calling that we should refine and redefine this country with a new constitution that will allow things to function. What we have does not allow us to function as a country. Is a problem. It is not because of maybe they will siphon it or not. They may siphon it and nobody can catch them because the systems are porous, dead to their responsibilities.
Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that there. According to the Reno Omokri's comment, Nigerians are living in darkness. I mean, while he's trying to defend solar panel at Aso Rock. Well, but this country is being compared to that of US, that of UK, even that of France, that already have stable electricity. And their citizens are not running up and down for generators and praying and cursing NEPA. Is this not false equivalence, Mr. Lawman?
Well, I don't see the before you start comparing, you compare apple with apple, compare pear with pear, compare orange with orange.
I'm not the one doing comparison. Reno Mokri is the one who has made comparison. Right,
yes,
yeah.
He was the one. I'm responding to his comparison.
Okay.
That he was making wrong comparisons. Let's give it to Reno Mokri. He's looking for a job. He's a job seeker. He wants to have a job. Okay. But then let's face reality. You cannot compare Nigeria, where you cannot remove an elected officer through the electoral process, with the US remove the president, even threatening to convict a former president. Cannot happen in Nigeria. In the UK, they said the opposition in the UK is a government in waiting. The opposition in Nigeria is slavery in perpetuity because of the systems we run.
Okay,
so
let's
places
go.
Where you know that if you mess up.
Let's go to these phone lines and then we'll come back to the conversation. Hello. Okay, right. We lost that call there. Yes, let's pick one or two calls before we call it a wrap. Please round up your thoughts while you on this.
Okay, so those countries you are talking about, there are consequences if you don't perform to the expectation of the people. Here in Nigeria, there is no consequence, not even to remove a House of Assembly member. The Constitution has a lot of impossibilities that are not pronounced. If I can tell you a lot of impossibilities, so that's why we are where we are. Nothing can happen to you. You can be recalled, you can be impeached. Those things don't happen.
All right.
That's the challenge.
That's a challenge. Hello, good morning. Okay, we're having a really glitchy line this morning. Okay, before we let you go, Mr. Lawman, the way it is right now with all of this conversation surrounding 10 billion naira to power the Aso Villa. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Adeleke MK from Igora.
All right, Adeleke MK from Igora. Please, 50 seconds, quickly.
Okay, thanks very much. You know, the problem of this country is that when somebody is strong and he has performed woefully, some people will still be defending such person. So you have spoken very well, but the defense is too bad.
All right, thank you very much for that. It said, well, you've spoken well, but then it seems the defense is really, really bad there. Mr. Lawman, before we let you go quickly, the President Bola Tinubu had introduced CNG, where the claim will be an alternative, you know. But as it is right now, is it not looking like there's a change? Mr. Lawman? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I was just saying that the CNG was introduced, you know. But now, despite the State House, you know, being first recipient of all of these CNG buses and all of this, now this solar energy is starting off in the villa too. Does it look like there is a change in 10 seconds? Please, can we just wrap up this?
Well, I CNG is an alternative, then the solar panel is another alternative, and there's nothing wrong having multiple alternatives so as to reduce the risk of running out of energy completely.
Even when Nigerians are still in darkness, which you agree?
No, the Nigerians are in darkness. We allowed, that's why we elected them to give us light. If they want to start from themselves, there's no problem. But the problem we have is that we have a system that doesn't hold them accountable. That's the challenge we have. And I'm quarreling over it. Our system does not hold the leaders accountable. So they start from anywhere, they do whatever thing they do, and then they go away with it.
Okay.
So what do we...
Okay, what do we do? A big question that ravages our minds. Thank you very much, Lowman in Zenwa, a policy analyst, audit expert, a fraud examiner, and an arbitrator. It's been a wonderful time joining us on the morning show this morning on Spotlight.
It's my great pleasure.
Okay, we'll go right now. This is what we call it a wrap on Spotlight on Super 92.7 FM. Yes, join us again the same time tomorrow, 7:30 down to